How's it going, Webheads? My name is Ryan Walsh. After seeing Avengers Infinity War, we all know that Loki at the beginning of the movie, probably like within the first 10 minutes, ended up getting choked out by Thanos. Thanos brutally killed Loki, or maybe that's just what we were meant to believe to see within that movie. A lot of people have come out and said that Loki actually faked his own death once again in Infinity War, and he actually might still be alive. But it does seem as though Thanos was really convincing in that moment, because he really just said,
"No resurrections this time."
And I think most of that phrase was really just hinting that Loki has died so many times and come back to life. So I think everybody really is just meant to believe that he's going to be coming back. But Thanos was meant to say that because he is the Mad Titan, he is the biggest villain of all, and he's going to be killing people for real at the beginning of the movie. And if we look at all the times Loki has really faked his own death, you can go back all the way to the very first Thor movie, where we see at the end Odin is holding onto Thor and Thor is holding onto Loki. And then Loki, of course, lets go and then goes into the abyss of space, and it looks like he goes through a black hole or portal or something like that. I'm not really too sure about that, but then right at the end credit scene, we see Loki is already still alive, and he's going to be the villain for the Avengers movie.
Well, I guess that's worth a look.
Well, I guess that's worth a look.
And then if we go forth to Thor the Dark World, we can see Loki getting stabbed by Kursk, and he just kind of just dies right then and there. And Thor, of course, is convinced that Loki has finally died. But then, of course, once again, we see that Loki has survived, and he then takes the throne from Odin.
No. Thank you.
So he's obviously died many times in the movies, and it's pretty convincing that Loki always gets away. And the reason why Loki died so quickly early on in the movie was not only just to make Thanos the biggest villain just by taking out the other reigning champion of the MCU, but really just to strike fear into fans going into the movie, saying any one hero or villain can actually die in this movie. And that's exactly what Marvel wanted to do to fans within that movie. And to be completely honest with you, Marvel really didn't pull any punches in that movie. They did stay true to their word right at the beginning of that movie, because if you just look at the middle of the movie, we see Gamora die, one of the most favorite Guardians character in that franchise. And then we also see Vision not only die just once, but he dies twice in the movie, showing that anybody can really die. And then if you just look at who got dusted after the snap, you can see Black Panther, who just had an amazing movie come out where it really just made a ton of money. They killed him off so easily, and then they killed off Spider-Man 2.
Stark? I don't feel so good.
So obviously it really did show that Marvel did not pull any punches in this movie. They were like, the stakes are going to be super high in this movie, and they really did follow through with that. And even if you go back through and watch the commentary of the Russo brothers watching Avengers Infinity War, now that it's come out on digital, the Russo brothers explained during that commentary that Loki dying in that scene was exactly what we thought. It's really to just strike fear into the fans and all of the audience, showing that any one hero or villain that you love that's a fan favorite can die. But I think we've all seen this before from Loki as well. And we really can't rule out Loki faking his own death, because he's done it so many times in the past. And if the past MCU movies with Loki dying shows anything at all, it's really just showing that Loki probably faked his own death once again. And I'm not gonna pitch you guys the whole theory of Loki turning into the Hulk and then going to Earth and posing as Bruce Banner, and that's why he can't turn into the Hulk at all. I'm not gonna go over that theory at all. That one's probably fake. Now that I really thought about it for a little while, that one's definitely fake. I don't think that one's real at all. And now that people have really been watching this movie at home, now they can really dig through this movie and find things in the background, because that's what we as fans do best. We love to look for little details in the background. I've even gone through the movie and tried to see little details of who actually could still be alive, or if there's any surprise cameos that we didn't get to see in the movie, because we all know Marvel does that. And of course, the fans just never let us down, and they have found something in the background. Now, if you really just look at the scene when Loki is getting choked by Thanos, you can see in the background there's some blurry thing moving, and that is supposed to be Loki. That's what this entire theory is all about. That blurry little image right there is Loki. Now, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I think that's a little far-fetched. We're kind of reaching here with this one because really you're thinking this blurry image in the background is Loki. I mean, it definitely could be, but I don't think they're going to show that on screen. And if you really look at that image, it kind of seems like that's not even within the ship. It looks like it's something outside of the ship. And when you look at the opening of the movie, you can see there's a ton of debris around the Sicarian ship that the Asgardians are in. And I think that's what it really is, more than just Loki kind of being in the background. Usually when Marvel puts stuff in the background, like say Howard the Duck in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you can really see Howard the Duck within the background. But then with this, it's just so blurry that you can't even see a figure. You can't even see like his iconic horns, or you can't really see a body. It just looks like some debris floating in space. But personally, when I look at this entire scene of how Loki could have survived this, I really just go back to the one scene when Loki says,
We have a Hulk.
you can see Loki is distracting Thanos with the Incredible Hulk, and Loki knows of Thanos. He knows Thanos can take out everybody. He knows Thanos is the most powerful being in the universe, so he predicts that Hulk actually is going to be losing in that fight. He tries to get his brother to safety, and then Loki just disappears from this entire scene. So I think that right there is showing you that this is where Loki is really just faking his own death. If I had to put my money on it, I think that that's the only scene you can really show that's showing that Loki has faked his own death. Because you just don't let the God of Mischief disappear off screen before you actually have him dying, before you show Loki really dying. Because in my opinion, that just defeats the whole purpose of it. I think we really can just see through that as fans, and we can see that, oh, well, he disappeared, then he came back into shot, and then he's supposed to die. I don't really believe that 100%. And seeing a lot of people's points of view on how Loki did die in Infinity War, and this really is his body, is showing you that whenever Loki makes another duplicate of himself, you can throw things through it. He's really just a hologram. You can put your hand through him and he's really not there. He's kind of like a ghost. But in my opinion, this is really just Marvel continuity errors at its finest, because if you look at, say, Thor Ragnarok, they show you this a million times where Thor is throwing something through Loki to tell if he's there or not. But then when you look at something like Thor the Dark World, Kurz puts a sword through Loki, showing that Loki really is dying, that they physically put something through him. You can see that Loki really does get stabbed, and there's no like little green thing showing that he's not really there or anything like that. It looks like a body really got penetrated by that sword. So to be honest with you, I don't know if we can really say for sure if that was Loki or not. Really just think that time will tell with this theory, and personally for me, if I really had to put money on it, I think not only time will tell with this theory, but also I think it's just not true at all. I personally do not put anything on this, and I actually think that he truly is dead and he won't be coming back in any of the films except for Avengers 4, because we have seen some set photos of him on there. But of course, Webheads, what do you guys think of this? Let me know down in the comments below. Definitely consider checking out the playlist over here for more on Avengers 4, and definitely consider subscribing and turning on the bell notification down below me so you guys get more on Marvel. But Webheads, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Bye-bye.